Hello, in prior lectures, we introduced allocating the manufacturer overhead using a plant-wide or company-wide predetermined overhead rate. So that means for all departments or processes in the company, we use the same predetermined overhead rate, such as the direct labor hours or the machine hours. But in reality, we all know different departments or process, they have different manufacture features. For some departments, the overhead is majorly driven by the direct labor hours. And then for other departments, the overhead may be related more to the machinery hours. So in this case, if you use a single the same overhead rate, it will hide the variances in the overhead between the different departments and cause inaccurate cost allocation for overhead and then inaccurate information for the cost report. So in this case, a better solution for the overhead allocation will be using departmental overhead rate. So means for each department or process, will identify the most related cost driver for that department and use that cost driver to allocate the overhead for that department only. And then when a product or an order goes through all of the departments, they will take different allocation from all of the departments of the overhead cost. Then adding them together will be the total overhead applied for the job. So in this video, I will use the Excel simulation question in the chapter 2 homework to go over the details of the departmental overhead allocation. Now let's see the question itself. So for that question in the homework, you need to download the Excel into your local computer, your local drive. Then work on solve the questions based upon the requirements, and then upload again back to the Connect. And so that's the submission for that question. And this question we have is a step by step. But before you go to the requirements in the steps, so make sure you truly understand the information given by these two department overhead allocation. So in this case, we have two departments in the company to make a job order. So we have a milling department and assembly department. So two departments. The first group of information is given for us to calculate the predetermined overhead rate. Because we know for the POHR, we need the budget information for the total fixed overhead, and then the estimated variable overhead rate, and also the allocation base, right? So we have two departments, and each department have its own overhead budgets. For the milling department, you can see is majorly driven by machinery hours. So machine hours, because we have much more machine hours incurred than the direct labor hours. And then the variable overhead per machine hour, because by the machine hour dominance, we'll use the machine hour as the allocation base for the milling department. Is $2 per machine hour. That's the estimated variable overhead per unit based upon the prior historical data with adjustment. Then the assembly department on the opposite. This department is most driven by the direct labor hours. So it's more labor intensive. We have the total fixed overhead. Then the variable overhead per direct labor hour is $3.75. Okay. So because they use different allocation base, the variable overhead is listed into separate rows. So this is departmental overhead rather than plant-wide. Each department use the most proper allocation base. So this group information can give us the estimation for total overhead and the total allocation base and help us to calculate the predetermined overhead rate. And then the second group of information are given by figuring out the cost, the total cost for the job 407 later after you finish the overhead part. So for job 407, we have the machine hours and the direct labor hours actual consumption from the two departments. So for milling, again, you can see the dominant is the machinery hours, 90 hours actual consumption. And for the assembly is 20 direct labor hours. And then we have the direct material and the direct labor cost given already because they are direct costs. Or they can be directly traced to the job in each department. We just need to add them together later. So the only difference here for the two departments than the company-wide is we kind of repeat the process like the cost reports for the two departments and then adding them together will be the total job order cost. So after we understand the information, one more thing is the markup on the job cost, because later for the requirements, we need to set up a price. So after we calculate the cost for the entire job, we need to find out a charging price for customers. And the charging price is normally estimated by a markup rate, okay, markup percentage, means how much profit the company want to earn on this job. For example, I want to earn 75% of the cost as my profit. Okay, so like if I have the cost is $100 and then my profit will be 75, then the price will be the cost plus the markup, 100 plus 75 markup. So the estimated charge of pricing will be $175. Okay, so using the markup percentage is one major pricing strategy in for company to set up the price. Okay, markup rate. And this markup rate is will be adjusted based upon your industry and the company size and the customer demand, right? So it's a combination of different factors. And now let's move on to the steps. The question requires you to put the right formula for the cells with the question mark. So the more important, be careful, you don't just put the number, or you need to actually put the formula and use the formula to get the numbers you want, rather than, oh, I finished on my paper and, copy this number in the cell. That's not right, and that wouldn't give you a point. So make sure like you understand the formula, because the formula help you understand the logics. So it's not really a simple math problem. The math is simple. You're adding like minus, divide or multiply, but you know why. Okay, so why I do multiplication in this step and then do addition in next step. So the key is understanding and then apply the math rather than math is our focus. Okay, so let's do this. I will do one of them, and then we can copy the and paste to the other column. Okay, so and this type of assignment also help us to enhance or practice our Excel skills. Excel is still the, I think, #1 sought after skills when you're looking for a job or different majors. Most of the company, I think I can say all of the companies are still looking for candidates, like job candidates, graduates with strong Microsoft Word, Excel skills. So, so let's get started. So step 1, they already indicate the purpose. So it calculates the estimated total manufacture overhead cost for each department, not the rate yet. So it's break down into the different components. So first, the total manufacture overhead cost will be the numerator or the top in our rate formula later. So let's do the meaning, and then we can paste the formula to the assembly department. So meaning total fixed manufacture overhead. This information, if you remember the group 1 information, we already have this 390,000 available. So you need to know how to refer to this. So it will equal to the 390,000. Or you do not manually copy and write it here, or it should be a reference. So equal to, so this is B25 equal to B10. Then variable manufacture overhead per machine hour, be careful, that's your variable overhead per unit is also available here already. That's B11. So B11 equals $2 per machine hours. Then total machine hour, all direct labor hour, okay, because that's depending on milling or assembly. For milling, it should be the total machinery hours. Be careful, you should use B8 rather than B9. Okay. B9 is labor hours, B8 is machine. So 60,000. And then total variable is really step by step, or total variable overhead, because we need a multiplication here. So B26, the rate multiply, we use the star as the multiplication, and then the B27 with the total allocation base, total machinery hours. So 120,000 total variable overhead. Now we can add B25 and B28 together, because that's your total. I have the formula here. Okay, total fixed overhead. Okay, as a reminder, we already have the total variable finished in B28. So adding both of them, okay, 510,000. So total manufacture overhead for milling department. I can do, if you want to practice one more time, you can repeat this process for the assembly department, but be careful, refer to the right numbers. And for the assembly department, we use labor hours as allocation base. Oh, this one, I think I couldn't really paste all of them. Oh, this one I can do it. Do you know how I did this? Right, because I'm doing like, so you can also referring to this is C10, okay, but I'm doing here like, so if you click on one cell and when you see the black cross and you drag it to the other cell, means you are copying the formula from the prior cell to the next one and with adjustment of the cell numbers. So you can see, if you see the formula of this one is not really pasting, this is B10 and this is C10. Okay, they change. So they are getting the number in the same row, but the second column. Okay, that's my purpose. But the variable overhead per unit, I couldn't do a copy because they are listed in different rows. This one I need to do it separate. So I need to refer to this individual. So 375. And machinery hour, not a machine hour, so I couldn't do the paste like a copy also. I need to refer and use the labor hours. This will be C9, or C9 total labor hours for the assembly department. But for the next two, I can direct copy because the formula, okay, I will calculate the total variable cost and the total manufacture overhead. These two, okay, I can group them together and then still waiting for the cross and drag it to here, and they will do that. Save me some time. Okay, so you no problem. Okay, if you want to type the formula again, okay, you can do it. But you can see it's directly copy but adjust the formula to the assembly department. So total manufacture overhead, the numerator for the formula. Okay, we are done. And then step 2, calculate the predetermined overhead rate, the POHR in here. And this one, we need the numerator. We already done here. And then the denominator, which is the machine hour or the labor hour, okay, as for the two departments. Then divide the numerator by the denominator, we will get the rate. So I will do the milling. You can see the total overhead is just again refer to this one we finished. And then this one will be the machinery hours. Okay, I can refer to B27 or you can refer to the top. Okay, the same. Okay, as long as you are referring to the 60,000 machinery hours. So I can do it. Probably I will use this one. And then the rate will be B33 divided by B34. Estimated overhead rate for milling department is 850 per machine hour. Okay, per machine hour. And everything I can copy to the assembly because, you know, we can get really data from the step 1, right? So everything is just to change the column so I can do them together. You can see that's really saved me some time. Group them together and drag it to the assembly column. So you got the calculation done. And if you want to double check, that's fine. So total manufacture overhead and the total direct labor hours, the allocation base, and the overhead rate. So, but this is again the estimated rate. Okay, so 850 and 10 for the two departments separately. And this step 3, now we do the allocation of the overhead to the job. We are trying to compute their cost. For allocation of the overhead, we need to do again the two departments separately. Okay, this is the difference between the departmental and company-wide. Separate allocation for each department. The applied overhead, be careful, I put a formula, and especially the red parts, you use the predetermined rate, but multiply by the actual allocation base for the job used. Okay, for the job used. So the allocation base is the actual consumption of the job. So will be this. Okay, I will do this one. And the allocation, because I use the red. Okay, so this one is the actual consumption of the allocation base for the job in the two departments. So the actual machine hours and then the actual labor hours. So for milling, we are using the 90. And then for the assembly, we use the 20 direct labor hours. Okay, because I want to emphasize this, so I first found out these two numbers. And then the rate, we already did it in step 2. So with the rate, I will just do a reference and then drag it to the assembly. Okay, so 10. And then the total overhand applied, be careful, applied overhand is the multiplication of the estimated rate with the actual allocation base. So 765 for the milling department, and I can do the paste to the assembly, 200. So more overhand for the milling department and much less for assembly. So be careful again, let me highlight this applied. Red. So applied overhead. Okay. Then step 4, the total cost and later unit cost for the job. So for the cost sheet, the material and the labor, we can directly reference to the given information. And you can see the nice thing is once I finish my overhead applied, is already this one is already referred by the cost sheet. Okay, this part of the formula, like the reference, is already dated for you by the question itself. Now we just need to call a reference. Okay, refer to the material and then the labor. Okay, the material and then the labor for the milling is B19. Okay, so B18 for direct material and B19 is for labor. And the same thing I think this one, yeah, I think I can use it for, yeah, as long as the line aligned for the assembly department. So I can drag to the assembly. Right, so for each department, their cost report is done for the job. But for the entire job, I need to put in the two departments' information together. So as a total, so this total will be B45 plus C45. Okay, the two departments together. Then I think for the next, I'm lazy. I'm just copying. So it will do the automatic addition. Okay, as long as I copy the formula for the material to the labor and the overhead. Okay. And then the total. Okay, the grand total cost. And I think we all know to use the sigma, right? So like this. So this one as the total for the column or row totals. So 2485, okay, total cost. And it didn't really ask the unit cost per unit cost. That's fine. So the total cost for the job for 7 is 2485. Okay, this may represent only one unit or multiple units. But let's move on to the final pricing setup. Okay, so first we are referring to the cost and then adding the markup. Okay, the markup is the 75. So use the cost multiply. You can use. I think you can type 75%, but I'm referring to here because we are really practicing on the sale reference and other calculation skills in the Excel. So, and this one will be adding them together. So you can do a grand total, or if only 2 rows, you can just do the addition. Okay, but it will be. So the selling price for the entire job based upon the company's markup policy, okay, will be over $4,000. So, and I like this practice because not only it help you review the multiple departments overhead allocation, it give us another chance to practice and improve our Excel skills. And I think I will try to incorporate as many as possible this type of assignment because those are really the skills. Okay, not you can only solve a accounting problem, but you use a right format or really the format used by the industry to solve these problems.